What is up, guys? Welcome back to Assisted Living Investing. I have my beautiful wife and business partner here with me today, Laura. And man, we're going to be talking about how you get to be very, very passive in this industry. And so Laura and I have spent the last 5 years building assisted living mansions and scaling ourselves out of the day-to-day work. And so Laura really runs it. That's why I wanted her to come on and talk with this in the weeds and the details on this kind of stuff with you. But I want to share with you the model, how you can make about 500 grand a year and get to the place where, I mean, Laura, how many hours a week do you work?
I'd say around 6 hours on Platinum.
6 hours at Platinum, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I maybe work an hour a week on that, something like that. Maybe 2, 1 to 2 hours.
He's running more of the numbers, the financial aspect of it. So
yeah. So that is not common. Right? Most people who have an assisted living, especially a dinky little RAL, man, they are slaves to their business. Mm-hmm. And because the numbers don't allow them to get out of this, right? You are essentially building your own job. You're keeping yourself in your own rat race, right? Like, I think it's a terrible way to go when you start getting into this kind of stuff and you're like, oh, let me just get my little deal going so that I can get my experience and then I'll do a great deal later. Like, no, like, let me show you how you can do an amazing deal the first time, bring on investor funds, go to the right kind of bank, structure it in the right kind of way so that you can have amazing money, make an incredible impact in your community, and then get to the place where you're working less than 1 day a week. Talk to me about that, because, okay, we opened in 2020 on our first one. What was it like that first few months into the first year? And then when did you start getting to the place when you're becoming less and less involved in the business?
So the first year, I would say, was really difficult. The first couple months was very difficult since we opened November of 2020, right in the heart of COVID. So opening assisted living is very difficult, but opening assisted living when you have COVID on top of that is even more difficult. So I think that was a really kind of quick slap in the face when we opened the doors for Platinum, because we didn't know what we were doing. First of all, we had never been in healthcare or assisted living in general. And so I think that was really difficult, just that. But then having staff call out because they got COVID and they couldn't come in for 2 weeks, and like maneuvering that landscape was real hard. And so just trying to keep staff during COVID was difficult too. So I'd say the first couple months, really hard. First year, I'd say, was really hard. Because we were still learning the basics of how to run an assisted living. And so I think after that first year, once we knew what we were doing, once we knew, what hospice was, and once we knew what a DC med meant, and like all these things, like it's like learning a whole new language, right? The whole new lingo. Once we learned all that, I think then it got easier, because then I knew what to expect of staff or of our team. And from there, I could really set the standard. And so I think I'd say a year to a year and a half in was when I really kind of got a grip on the business.
So yes, it sucked at first, right? There was COVID. You had to wear the mask and the face shield, and we had to have like the plexiglass for family visits. It was horrid. That was actually not as bad as what came next, which was the Great Resignation. Mm-hmm. That, again, government giving out all the different money. You were running like 80 interviews a week.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And like 13 people would show up.
Yeah.
Right? Because the government was saying, just apply. As long as you're applying, we'll keep paying you. Right? And so it was just a joke.
Yeah.
But man, like we could not get staff to come in. We were spending $3,000 a month on Indeed for job ads, and we couldn't hire anybody. Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that was actually the hardest time. Now, if you're getting into this now, that's probably not going to happen to you, right? Like all that horribleness was gone. It is gone, and we're not going back to that crap anymore. So it's hard for us to take ourselves out of that very like once in a lifetime time and say, well, what would it have been like, right? So for us, it was substantially harder because we had all of these crap to go along with. But I would say also that first maybe 9 to 12 months, we spent a lot of time, and myself specifically, building out all the systems. Right. So now we just opened our second and third mansion, drastically different. Yep. Every system, every policy, everything has an order and a here's a training module and here's the video, right? And like it's super easy. So that first year was learning everything, all the terms of the industries, and then it was building out all of our systems and all those kind of things.
Yeah, so that took a lot of time, I think, in the initial front end of it. But yeah, I think opening the second and third, I don't want to say it's been easy because it's still difficult, but it's been a lot easier than it was the first time. So I think, again, because we grew as individuals and we know now what to expect. And so I think that actually helps. It's the skill set that we've learned and that we've developed over these past 5 years that has really, I think, just catapulted the success and made it that much quote unquote easier. I don't want to say the word easy because, again, it's not easy, but it's easier than it was the first time.
Yeah. So I'd say there's kind of a path to what we had done and then what we teach our partner teams on how to go this and do this, right? So really we talked about the first, 6 to 12 months, you're there, you're in the weeds, you're learning the business, right? You're setting that standard and then upholding the team to that. So I want you to kind of unpack that a little bit. Like how do you build this business that is honestly great? Like that just does great things and has a great reputation and has great care for people. How were you able to go in with no experience and, because you took the lead on this, I was there kind of just helping with with what you needed. But like, I think you created a great company and culture and product and service within a year. How do you kind of give people advice on how to do that?
So this is the one thing I actually really like talking about because this is something that everybody has control over. And I know a lot of people like having control. And so the one thing that you have to control is yourself. And so the standard is really set by you. You as the owner are setting the standard for the entire team below you and for your whole company. And so I take that very seriously. And people actually make fun of me for how serious I take this because I think that what you do in one thing is how you do everything, right? I think that a lot of people don't realize the power they hold in their company by just making sure that they set the standard high for themselves personally, because then your team below you is going to fall in that. So
I guess listening to you say it, right? To me, it's like the standard of excellence. That's the way I interpret it. Mm-hmm. And I see, when you walk into Platinum, right? Like there is this certain things that you do every single time, right? You go and you greet all the grandmas, right? I literally see you spend 10 minutes going around grandma by grandma by grandpa by grandpa, right? Yeah. Greeting them, knowing the families, talking to the families. The same with the staff, right? Doesn't matter who it is, asking how they're doing, and really that's part of that culture that you are creating there. On that again, part of our environment of the love first, the supporting our grandparents, but also our team. Mm-hmm. But then to balance that, like the standard of excellence is also you are not our people, and we are quick to fire.
Yep.
Right. And I mean, can you kind of maybe just unpack that a little bit, because how many people have we fired? And especially when you're first opening, right? That first 6 months when you're building your core team, if you were saying, hey, you know what? I am the standard bearer. I have this flag of excellence and I'm taking excellence in everything in the business. And I'm also taking excellence in everything in my life to be able to inspire my team, mm-hmm. right? Like how long does it take to find people that either carry their own standards similar mm-hmm. or that are moldable enough to come up to your standard?
Yeah, I think that this is something not many people like talking about. And I think that this is really what makes or breaks your reputation within your community. So I always say that we take long to hire and we're quick to fire. And I do that purposely because I don't want there to be that worm in the apple, right? I mean, you can have one bad person in a team of like 50. And I'm telling you, that one person can really bring down the whole team. And so I would say that it's been a learning process with finding those good people versus bad people. Don't get me wrong. We still hire people that aren't a good fit. And I've come to the realization, and I've taught our managers this, that it's okay. It's okay if people come in and don't have that same standard that you have, because there's a lot of people in this world and some people just don't carry the standard that you have. And that's okay. They can take their standard and they can go somewhere else that better suits them.
How long did it take in order to bring like a solid core staff of, your manager, your chef, your caregivers up to the level that you wanted for platinum?
I would say it was probably about a year and a half of time spent. And so, granted, I was there every day in the beginning. So I knew the entire team. I knew all the families. I knew all the grandparents. And again, I think that was purposeful too. Like I wanted to be there. I wanted my face there. I wanted people to know that I was involved and I was making decisions based on the business. And so I would say a year and a half to really develop that like core team. You're always going to have one or two people that, bounce in and out. That's just kind of the nature of business. But I think developing that core team, again, I think takes a little bit of time because you're going to be you really want to attract the people that uphold the same standard you do, and you want to repel the people that do not have that same standard as you do. And I think a lot of that comes into play with your core values and your mission statement. Like, are you talking about those things in interviews? Are you letting people know that this is our mission to love and serve everyone who comes through our doors? These are our core values, above and beyond. We choose joy. Together we win as a team. Like you're talking about these core values within your interview so that people know that you're serious. I think that's really important. You're not here to just play games. We're not here to call in for silly reasons. We're not here to show up late. We're not here to talk about drama. We're serious about what we do because we are taking care of grandparents, someone's loved one we're taking care of. And so that's a very serious thing for me. And so I want them to know that if they're going to get hired with us, like I hope that they feel that way too about the grandparents. And so even during the interview process, you may repel those people. Great. I mean, it saves you a little bit of heartache and it saves them heartache too. So it saves everybody time if they know what the standard is and what the expectations that you're upholding. And so again, going back to your question, I think a year and a half is an adequate amount of time. It may be within a year, but I think because of the circumstances we were in with COVID, it just took a little bit longer because of that. But I mean, even now with currently opening these other two buildings, we have that the solid core team already of 4 to 6 Platinum Angels. And we have our chef. And I think that those people are really creating that culture within the home. And there's people who are coming in and out, and that's okay. I think that's just part of the process of it all.
So the in and out kind of staff, right? What does that look like? You think it's like 2/3 of our staff is stable with us for years?
Yeah, I would say.
And then it's just that 1/3 that you never know which one they are when you hire them, right? Are you the core stable person, or are you the unstable person that's gonna be wishy-washy? And it's usually just life, right?
Yeah.
Life gets in the way. It's kids, it's drama, it's spouse. Something happens and you're moving across the country, or you're just unstable.
Exactly.
So, all right. So for people, that is their goal, right? You got to cycle through. It takes maybe a year, and then you get to a place where you become very, very stable because you have now trained and upheld the standard that you have these people that have grown to it or have a similar standard that they are carrying, right? And this is really just a standard for loving and caring these grandmas.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that we have that reputation within the community. And so if there are other individuals who work for the big boxes, which a lot of times aren't known for their care, if there are individuals who work at those big boxes who really do genuinely care about people and who really want to just love on grandparents, they know that that's the standard that we uphold because it gets shown through, our hospice and home health companies that come in. They see it, they go out, they talk to the other people in those big boxes. It's a small world. And once you have that standard upheld in your home, it's going to get out. And the people who really do care and really want to love on grandparents, they're going to come to you again, because you're putting out, I don't want to say like the energy, but kind of it is like you're putting out that energy and they're going to be attracted to that. And so when I say you attract the right people, it takes time. You have to build that reputation within your community first before you're really going to attract that. And again, on the opposite end of that, you will repel the people who do not want to uphold that standard, because once you start firing people who aren't upholding that standard, they're going to go out and they're going to talk about, of course, what a terrible employer you are. You fired them for sleeping on the job, which is against the rules and regulations within your state. And so they're going to hear that and be like, oh, well, they uphold that standard. I want to work there. And so I think it's just gonna get out, and your reputation will really stand the test of time. And again, you're gonna attract those people that you really want within your home.
Yeah. Okay, so first year, right, is being the standard bearer, creating excellence in your business.
Correct.
Okay, that's fantastic, but you're there almost every single day that first year. So
Yeah.
now how do you start from, now I have excellence in my company to, I want my time freedom, right? How do you get from there transitioning to, I'm now coming in and working for 4 to 6 hours a week?
So I think, again, you have control over you and the standard that you uphold. Once you realize that and you really jump into that role that's for you, you're going to set that standard within the house. And so usually the caregivers are going to see the way you respond to things. They're going to see how you interact with people. They're going to see maybe you reading books and listening to podcasts and doing all these things, right? There's going to be a couple that just kind of rise to the top. And I give the example of, the separation of butter, the fat and butter, like you just see that separation. It separates. It's like the cream of the crop, right? There's going to be just a couple individuals within your team who, show up on time and are honest and have integrity, and there's no drama, and they're always uplifting the team and supporting, the decisions of the team dynamic. And so it's almost like you're raising up these individuals to then come in and replace you. So I don't want to say like you're kind of creating mini you, like mini versions of you. And it's almost like kids in a way, right? Like you raise your kids up in an environment and they're kind of mini versions of you and your husband. And so it's kind of similar in this regard. Like they're individuals who just have great skills and abilities, but they need to be honed in a little bit. And so when I think of the managers that we have, they're just amazing, honest, integritous individuals who are upholding the same standard that I hold for myself. And it's because they've seen the example. They're following after that example. If you do not hold that standard, then they're not going to know what standard to take themselves to. So you really need to be that example. And so what we really did is we saw those individuals who were rising to the top. We promoted them to management, and then it was almost like just replacing myself within the house because they uphold the same things that I hold for myself, reading books and podcasts and going to the gym and, putting just positive things into their mind. And so I think that because they've seen me do it, they follow that. And I think that's really what it comes down to is just like this, I want to say slow replacement. It's almost a slow replacement. They're just kind of slowly raising up themselves and raising up their standard to meet the standard that you're upholding for yourself.
So because we did this and we did not hire or promote somebody who had 5 or 10 years of experience running an assisted living.
Correct.
Right. So it was really just finding the right quality people that they have their own standard. And then we had to teach them the skills. And it was months of like, I think there was 9 or 10 different really kind of objections or objectives that we broke everything down into manner training, right? And we said, here's the 3 most important ones. And we started going through that week by week with them, training them on these kind of things. And we did not touch the other 6 or 7. And then it was a little bit later. Okay, now here's these next 2, right? And here's these next 2. And it was probably a year before they like were fully replacing you, right? You were just kind of phasing yourself out, but you were phasing yourself out with people that you could trust, that people that had the same heart and integrity for these grandmas and grandpas, that would treat them the same way, that you knew when the crap hit the fan, that they were going to react with at least the right intention, right?
Yeah.
They may have made mistakes or things like that, right? They had to go through that experience, but they're coming at it with the right objective and heart behind it.
Correct. Yeah, I think that took time. And I think that that's another aspect, what you just said about leadership that I think some people don't understand is you need to give your team the freedom to make mistakes. And I think that was one thing that I'm not like here to toot my horn, but I do really well is I want them to make the mistake and see that it's a mistake and then know next time I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm going to do something different. And so I think that was really their growth was just kind of putting them in circumstances where I know that they had to make their own decisions and make their own mistakes and kind of fumble through it. And but man, their growth through that for both of them has been amazing. And so if they come to me and they know this, they actually use this strategy with the managers below them now. If they come to me with a problem, I always ask them, okay, so what do you think is the best solution to that? I don't want to tell them what the solution is because I probably do know the solution. I want them to come up with a solution themselves. I don't want them to be reliant on me all the time, calling me for answers. Like, I want them to know that they have confidence in themselves and confidence in their choices to make those decisions on their own. And that's what they've done. And they've done it so well to where they can now teach the people under them the same skills and strategies that Brett and I have taught them as well.
So let's dive into the smidge more, because it's almost like you had these almost grandbabies of yourself in this kind of analogy, right? Because you promoted these ladies, our managers, I don't know, 3.5, 4 years ago, something like that, right? And it was how long until you felt like you got pretty much almost all that time back?
I would say it's about a year of my time. So it was a year of learning, and then a year of really like building and pouring myself into these individuals. So I'd say about 2 years total.
So in that second year, are you still doing all the day-to-day stuff that you were doing the first year, or are you now doing something different? As you say, you're pouring into the team.
So I would say I was working more, I'd say, on the business instead of in the business. I was still in it, and I still am in the business, like very little. Like, I still do drop-ins where I'll drop into, each location and talk to all the platinum angels that are there, talk to the chef, talk to the managers. Like, I still do drop-ins like that to make sure that the culture is really maintained there. But I think that first year of training those two individuals was a slow release. Like, I still was working in the business, but kind of like letting go of certain things and certain tasks slowly, so that I wasn't just like bombarding them with everything because I didn't want them to be so overwhelmed, because coming to the position in this role as a manager, it's overwhelming. There's a lot of working parts. And so I didn't want to just like toss them in a room of like 100 spinning plates and be like, okay, cool, I'm done. Like, keep the plate spinning, So I wanted them to know that I was still there spinning like 80 of those plates while they're each spinning 10. Right. And so then once I saw they had those 10 spinning plates good, then I can give them 5 more. And so it was just kind of a slow release of the different tasks that they needed to learn and really build those skills on how to spin those plates before I fully let everything go to them.
All right. So then you spent the next year 2, right, handing off more and more responsibility. And then we had probably a 2-year gap or maybe even a little more between that time and now opening the mansions at Berry Springs.
Correct.
Right. So talk to us about that time. What was this in between time? You've passed pretty much all the in the business stuff, responsibilities off. What time do you still have now going that you're spending working on the business, and what are the kind of the roles that you're now in charge of?
I would say that the majority of the time that I spend is really with the team. So I think in the beginning, I was so focused on the client, like who our client is, like, okay, it's the grandparent and it's their POA. That's who's giving us the money every month. Like, that's who I should really focus on. But I think that I did have it the opposite. I should have been focusing on the team, which is what I'm doing now. So I'm really focusing on each platinum angel that we hire, going in, introducing myself, asking about them, their background, talking to the chefs, talking to, not only even Mandy, who are our region managers, but also the people under them, making sure that they're good, like in their family life and everything. If there's anything I can help them with, I can do that. Constantly pouring into them, sending them podcasts, buying them books, like things that I can do to really embetter them, putting them through leadership classes. I think that's really my role now, is just pouring myself into the team, because when I do that, when I pour myself into the team, then they're going to pour into the clients. They're going to pour into the grandparents. They're going to pour into the families. And I think that's really how I see the dynamic working so much better. Is I love our team, and I want the team to know that, because when I love the team, then that team is going to take that same love and they're going to pour it into our grandparents. And that is really why we're doing this business, is to take care of these grandparents. And so our team is their hands and feet, right? They're the ones that are on the battle line taking care of them. And so I really need to love and care for the team so they can love and care for the grandparents.
Yeah. Okay. So that is your role now, right? And so then in the active stuff on the business, right? You run payroll, we have our manager meeting. That's where it's roughly 6 hours a week?
About 6 hours a week. Yeah. So I'm overseeing all the KPIs too. So each manager for each location has KPIs that they input each week. And so that's something we go through every week for each location and each manager, making sure that there's no issues. If there's issues, then we talk about it and we find solutions to it. And then Brett and I also have our weekly manager meeting with the 2 regional managers. And so again, going over all of the locations and just talking about any issues that arise. So yeah, I'd say about 6 hours total between all of that. And then just the interaction that I have each week going into each location as well.
Yeah. Okay. So with myself, right, I have our weekly meeting with the management team, and then I just make sure all the finances are set up, right? I'm running the invoicing for the grandmas and that kind of stuff, and most that's on auto pay. So I don't really do anything there unless someone passes or somebody else moves in. So I'd say I'm probably 1 to 2 hours a week at Platinum. Now, I want you to kind of transition. I want to talk about next about kind of this second generation of managers that you've raised up. And, you spent this last few years pouring into our regional managers. That we promoted them to regional managers. So that, how are you seeing them? Is it almost the same, the way you have built into them, that they are kind of turning and doing that into the managers that they now manage?
Yeah, I think that's actually been a really fun experience to see the 2 regional managers that we have, like, to see their growth and development the last couple of years. And then them now, like, turning back with their hand, like, reaching down to now pull up the other managers that we promoted to operation managers. And so, yeah, I would say they are pouring into the managers the way that I poured into our original managers. And so it's really fun to see them take on that new role and for them to lead the next generation of managers. That's kind of what it is. Like they really are leading the next generation of managers. And so, but I've known these other managers for years now because we promoted individuals who have worked with us for a couple of years. I mean, one of them has worked with us for 4 years. And so I've known them as well, again, because I was going in and I was getting to know each of these Platinum Angels, and I think building that relationship. And so because of that, I think that's why they stay, because they know, oh, the owner's really cool. These managers are really cool. Like, I'm going to stay here. And so it is really, really cool to see just the growth and development within all of these individuals who started off as caregivers.
So can you explain, I guess, why our hiring strategy is for new managers, why we very much prefer promoting from within, for someone without any experience? I mean, literally just caregivers on the floor for however long, a year or two, right? And the experience that we've had with hiring from outside, from big corporate and from big box and all that kind of stuff.
I think it goes back to what we originally talked about, is the standard. If you go into a big box in your area, within the first 2 seconds of walking into this place, you will know the standard is so low. It's horrible, the standard you will see. And so I think if you're hiring someone in an environment like that, they are going to take that same low standard and they're going to bring it into your house if you hire them. And so this is the main reason why I don't like hiring from outside of the organization, because they don't understand the standard. They don't understand the core values. They don't understand the culture that we're really building here. The culture in big boxes and other places is a culture that I would not even want to have anything to do with. And so I think that's really why we want to hire from within, because people understand that standard. They understand the core values. They understand the mission. They understand what we're trying to really develop within Platinum. And that's really what I want to maintain. And I think that's really kind of the secret sauce of Platinum is hiring from within. And I know we preach this all the time about just promoting individuals from within the organization, because they understand what you're really striving for. I've hired from outside of the organization, and I have to tell you that it hasn't actually worked out yet. It may work out for you. I would hope it would. But I think that it's almost like a culture shock for them, which I love. I love when it's a culture shock, because then I know that I'm actually doing the right thing and the culture is exactly what I want it to be. Because I don't want it to be like all the other places. I don't want it to be like the big box down the street. And so that is the main reason why we promote from within. And I really do think that doing that, it just creates kind of that like umbrella over our entire organization, that even the new hires that we, hire from outside, they see that. And that's the thing that makes them stay, is because they're like, oh, great, this place is not like the place I just came from. This is amazing. And so, again, love promoting from within. I think that it's a strategy that takes a little more time, because you really do have to, again, pour yourself into these individuals and really teach them and train them and love them, right? And really carry them from the place where they started up to, a management level that can really build and develop a great leader.
So then for us, we for sure prioritize the character, the quality of someone, their potential, I guess, integrity and who they are as a character, much more than your skill set.
Yep.
Right. Even, especially on caregivers, right? But even more on a manager, because there's so many different things you have to learn, but it is so much easier to teach someone, here's the skill sets, one thing at a time. We can teach you all these things. I can't teach you to give a crap. I can't teach you not to have drama and talk badly about your coworkers and just have attitude and not show up on time and all those kind of things.
Yep, exactly.
So this has really been our path to get to a place where we build these mansions. That's kind of my job, right? I build the mansions and Laura's got to run them. But I build it, I hand them off to her, and she builds the team, right? And pours into the team and spends that next year creating these quality individuals. Well, they already are quality individuals, but building and training them to become these rock star managers, so that now she can start pulling her time back out of this and get ultimately what we all want, right? We want to be able to make active money that's great. We want to have a fantastic, exit strategy with equity in real estate. And then we want to be able to make a difference while being able to spend time with our kids and travel and have that just time freedom of like, I want to go into the mansions today and sing karaoke with the grandmas and have fun and see what the chef's cooking and hang out with the families, right? Or I don't. I want to spend time with my kids, or I'm having an off day and I have that freedom to be able to say, no, today I'm doing this or I'm doing that.
I think one more thing I want to add is it's really important to want amazing things for your team. And I'll go kind of deeper into that. I really want our managers to go further in their like professional life and personal life than they can even envision for themselves. And so I always say this to my managers. I'm like, if there's an opportunity that is not here for you to grow and develop, I want you to take that opportunity. And I know that sounds like so against the grain, right? Because if you have an amazing person, you really want them to stay in your team. And of course I do. But if there's an opportunity for, one of our managers to like purchase an assisted living on their own or something like, or I don't know, move somewhere else and have this great opportunity, I'm excited for them for that. Granted, yes, it would be hard, but I want to push them toward that because I want to see them continually grow and push themselves. And I always tell them this. And to be honest, they always say like, this is the main reason why we stay with you, Laura, because like you want the best for us. And I think that's important to tell them, like write down their goals so that you can share their goals with them like a year or two later and show them like, look how far you've come. Look at like, you've hit like 3/4 of these goals already. And just encourage them and want the best for them. I think that that's also something that is really important that, to be honest, not a lot of leaders do.
Yeah. Well, this is the game plan for you all, right? Go out there, build your own mansion, raise money, bring on investor partners. Don't do a crappy little deal. Do some big life-changing deal. And then take Laura's playbook, right? Start with the quality, right? Start standing that standard. Build something great that you can be proud of, that you can put your name on. And then pour into people and pull your time freedom back. And then scale. That's our model. That's our rinse and repeat. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. I hope that you can be inspired to do something big and life-changing and make a difference in your community. And if you want extra training on this, hit the website, Assisted Living Mansion. There is a bunch of free courses there. You can book a call with our team to learn about building mansions. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.